Okay, welcome to chapter 5 of 20K20. I'm your host, Orange, and let's just get into it. Hey coach, it's Monica. Yeah. No, still nothing. He keeps saying it was in a chest of some kind, like a treasure chest. Well, I don't know what's the difference between a regular chest and a treasure chest, besides the treasure. Yeah, I know. I'm not sure. UCLA is asking for an extension, though. They want us here 3 more days. I don't know. Of course, we can't know for sure. He might be fucking with us. But he seems like obsessed with this. Like he just knows the ball is there somewhere. Yeah. Well, listen, here's what I think. I think he really does believe the ball is there. I also think we've been searching for a week, and the search area is about 28 acres. That's not that big. There are 20 of us looking. We would have found it. Okay. No, I'm good with that. I'll let them know. Yep, bye. What'd you say? No extension. We gotta pack up at the end of the day. Yeah, I think they're wasting their time here. Our time here. Did she tell you about the scoreboard? No, what? We moved up in the rankings. Look, this was a minute ago. This was just a minute ago. Okay, I'm gonna read this time. I'm trying to remember the name of that song where it goes like doot do 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 do, and then a piano goes like dun 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 dun. Lady sings it. Please, somebody help me. Someone please help me. Fantastic. Whoa, we're number 13, baby. Looks like Georgia had a little accident. Wonder what the hell happened there. Don't know, don't care. We're tied with a million other teams, and I bet the rest of them actually know where their damn football is. Hey, 13 is 13. Yeah, we gotta celebrate. Maybe we could rent a private party up at that bar in Pryor Creek. Yeah, but you know that the field only runs along the indoor part of the bar. I want to sit outside somewhere. Could go up to Hardy. Hardy, Nebraska? Yeah, I think it's the nearest bar if we keep going north. I don't know. We'll see what coach thinks about it. Anyway, gonna go break the news to Grumpy. Haha, not Grumpy. You don't have to call him that. I mean, we've been around the dude for a week, and all he does is mope around. If I fumbled, I might too. It was 63 years ago. Whatever, I'm gonna head up there. I'll be back. Where's he at? He was about at the 490,000 last I saw him. Alright, I'll be back. Hey Chuck. Hey, see the scoreboard? Nah, I was still looking. Georgia lost to football. This was about a few minutes. This was just a few minutes ago. No fooling. Someone else pick it up? Not as far as we can tell. Well, what do you want to do now? How long you been playing? About 300 years. Well, some of you newer players haven't necessarily seen something like this, but it's happened a few times where some poor sucker just airmailed the ball onto a boat or something like that, and the boat just goes on down the lake, none the wiser. Oh wow. Yeah, so you folks look and see. What you want to do now is watch to see if there's any blips on the scoreboard. If you can see a team pop up and then back down, you can bet your hat that's what's happening. Just a boat passing through their field. Now, if the score pops up and down real fast, that's something faster, maybe a dump truck or something like that. There was actually a story once about a hawk that come and picked up the ball, flew a few hundred miles. I don't think that's true though. Yeah, that never happened. This is fun. It's fun to see when opposing players are pals. Me too. It's actually not too uncommon to see this. Kind of depends on the program's culture. Really, some schools are hell-bent on victory. Some are a lot more chill. Where do these teams fall on that spectrum? Well, Louisiana Tech and UCLA are both kind of bottom feeders these days. Not a lot of depth. Lots of new players with less experience. I mean, both programs take the game serious, but they're still a few centuries away from relevance, and they seem to know that. But, and fingers crossed here, they may be about to deliver us something crazy. See, Louisiana Tech and UCLA do not have an alliance with each other. That's not what they're doing here. Storytime? Always. Story time. It's 63 years ago, and the year is 19,957. Then, as now, UCLA had 0 footballs. Like a lot of other goose egg teams, without any particularly great ideas, they decided to send out 5 squads of 20 to just kind of roam around the country. They go on patrols, pick up whatever intelligence they can, and hope they get lucky. One of these squads is down in Texas, marching up the Kansas field, just outside of Tyler, Texas. One day, they run into the Texas A&M team with a football they're trying to bring home. This team has 28 players, outnumbering UCLA by a few. But hey, it's enough to play some football. Whoa, what is this? This is known as the Castle Keep Formation. It alludes to the inner keeps medieval lords who would build in their castles, naturally. Give me a second with this. I haven't had nearly as much time as you guys to study up on the game. I mean, I'm still trying to read up on the West Coast offense of the 1980s. Lol, you are younger than hell. I'm older than both of you. Lol, you old as hell. It's officially known as the Castle Keep offense, but I and a lot of others prefer to call it the throw pillow offense. It's bloated and overcrowded. Imagine the triple option, except instead of a ball carrier, every option is an extra offense. Upon taking the snap, the quarterback can drop back and make her reads as usual, or she can pitch it back to her second or third quarterback. This offense briefly came into vogue around the 90th century. Problem is, it overcomplicates things for you, a lot more than it does for your opponent. It's for advanced offensive thinkers only. In lesser hands, it's a mess. Yeah, that was the case here. The thing about the modern college game is that it's mostly made up of running around the country trying to get the ball. You could very well go a long time without ever taking a snap. Though, to retain play calling discipline, tough to retain play calling discipline. More often than not, it's probably in your best interest to keep it simple. But these are human beings, and human beings love playing with their toys. It's 1st and 10. The quarterback pitches it back to the second quarterback on the left side, who doesn't catch it cleanly. He just chucks it out of bounds. Damn near gets an international grounding penalty. 2nd and 10. This time they draw 9 verts, 4 wide receivers, the tight end, and both running backs, both from both auxiliary offenses, all streak downfield. But as is common practice, UCLA has stationed 3 of its safeties way upfield to play prevent. With the help of that little line of trees, they successfully break it up. Complete lack of imagination from A&M here. They paid for it. All of a sudden, it's 3rd and 10. Now, if you turn the ball over on downs, it's not really the end of the world, right? UCLA would get the ball, but you still outnumber them. You can most likely stop them and get it back. But A&M is trying to get the hell out of Dodge. They're tired and it's getting late. They want to make one huge gain that lets them streak miles downfield and get this over with. So they call 9 verts again. This sucks. They need to ditch this offense. You outnumber them. You don't need to try any misdirection or obscure your intent. Just beat them up. I agree with you. And coincidentally, so does Fate. This is where Chuck comes in. Nice. Chuck Hamilton, height 6'3", weight 235 pounds, born 12th of the 2nd, 1967, Thousand Oaks, California. Recent college football record. It's amazing. Hail to the Chief. Chuck was president of the United States from 14606 to 14610. Chuck's a terrific player whose talents as a defensive end have been wasted on UCLA Bruins. This is the first time he's ever had a sniff at scrimmage football in hundreds of years. This is his big chance, and one of the de facto leaders of the squad. It's his turn to call his defense's next play. He calls everyone's favorite, zero blitz. Fuck yeah! Whoa, Jesus, okay. It's my favorite, I'm sorry. If you pull the trigger at the right time, sending your entire team on a blitz, it's effective and it's beautiful. Lady, you're gonna love this, because if this isn't just a zero blitz, it's a targeted zero blitz. Chuck is pushing all of his chips here. He believes that the third quarterback is going to ask to make a throw, since he hasn't yet. So UCLA decides they're going to bum rush the west side of the field. His guess is absolutely right. UCLA's line shifts west. Their safeties creep up on the line just before the snap, then flood the west side of the field. A&M's third O-line is just eaten alive. The third quarterback tries to escape the pocket, but Chuck is all over him. Chuck balls up a fist, lunges at him, punches the ball right out of his elbow. Gorgeous technique. It's the first time he's touched a ball in centuries. He stumbles forwards and picks the ball up off the turf. He's got it. Seems like what most offensives really need in this game is an offensive safety or two. A couple of players positioned way back field to prevent what's about to happen. Yeah, if they did that, they almost certainly could have stopped him. There's something I think about often, and it ties into something we talked about last time around. I think if you sat these people down in, 1990 and explained to them that they would live forever, they would imagine themselves in the distant future as supremely wise people. They'd tell you, well, with all the time in the world, I'd come to understand everything in the world. I won't make mistakes anymore. I won't fuck up anymore. I'll become the best version of myself. And it may well be true that they became the best version of themselves. That version still screws up relationships and leaves their sweater on the plane. That version still plays million-yard football like it's 100-yard football. And thank God, because that is how this little odyssey began. On paper, Chuck wasn't the fastest guy in the field, but he hauled ass all the way to Oklahoma without getting caught. When it comes to long-distance football, whatever's on paper often goes out the window. It comes down to who really wants it the most. Who's willing to run for 19 hours a day, and who prefers to call it in and ask for another squad on your team to run him down. Nobody wanted it more than Chuck, turns out. Now, when you're a lone ball carrier, the smart move is to change fields as few times as possible. You don't want to leave a trail on the scoreboard. If they see USC move up the rankings, then go down, and Kansas State moves up, then they go down and Grambling moves up, everybody in the country can correctly guess that you're moving a football in southeastern Oklahoma, where those three fields run past each other. If that happens, and they find you and you're fucked, what happens if you line up a scrimmage and you're the only player on your team? Something very stupid. The old NCAA football rulebook was our foundational text, and in almost every case we tried to interpret it as literally as possible. Of course, there was neither a rule nor a mere insinuation for how a one-player offense should line up, so we just did our best. The lonely player lines up at center and snaps the ball to nobody. In old football rules, this would be treated as like a fumble is treated. Logically, it's legal for the sender to turn around and recover it. But it would be just as legal for the defense to just ball over you. Yeah, it's painful and humiliating experience. That's cool. That sucks. That's cool. Motion passes 2-1. So back to our buddy Chuck here. He's made it about 200 miles north. He's trying to stay on the Kansas field a while longer and then cut northwest. This is what players are coached to do when they're carrying the ball by themselves. In the northwestern United States, it's a lot more sparse and there's a lot less action, less likely to run into trouble. From there, he can just link up with the UCLA field, mission complete. But then, at about the Kansas 398,800 yard line, he runs into trouble. He's at the Arkansas River. And on the other side, he sees a huge squad of KU players who've finally showed up to figure out what a ball is doing on their field. Chuck doesn't really have a choice. He jukes northeast to transfer to Western Michigan's field. Then northwest to hop on Louisiana Tech's field. He knows that by doing this, he's going to set off all kinds of alarm bells. Again, people see Kansas pop on the scoreboard, then Western Michigan, then Louisiana Tech. Everyone's going to know you got a ball, and they're going to know right where you are. So Chuck's on Louisiana Tech, and he's shit out of luck. He runs upfield and sees an army of Washington players combing through. looking for him under every log. He looks downfield. Kansas players doing the same. Bad news all around. Only hope now is to try and hide the football and come back for it later at some point. Now, 2 things to know about this, if you didn't bother to read the rulebook I sent you all. And the first thing is that, I read it, nerd. The first thing is that you aren't allowed to significantly alter on-field structures or terrain. So you can't, for example, bury the ball. If we let people do that, this game would never, ever end. The second thing is that every ball gives off faint glow in the dark. This means you've got to be really, really skilled at hiding the ball. You've got to put a lot of thought into it. Or in Chuck's case, get almost impossibly lucky. He's scurrying the hills around in the hills outside of Lost City, desperately looking for somewhere to stash the ball. He eventually finds an old storage trunk. It's old, thousands and thousands of years old. To this day, I have no fucking idea how it got there, or what it's doing in the middle of nowhere. Neither does Chuck, but he doesn't care. It's sunken into the ground, sticking out just enough for Chuck to pry the lid open and drop the ball in. Now, this is when he should look around for landmarks and try to figure out exactly where he's at, but he's panicked and exhausted and seriously sleep deprived. And it's the middle of the night. He glances around, feels like he has a good enough idea of his location, and walks out of the hills. When Kansas players intercept him, they find him without a football. He gives them a friendly wave and goes on his way. But like you said, everyone in the country can deduce that it's up there in the hills somewhere. Well, Washington spent all night in the hills, 40 or so players combing every stretch looking for something that glowed in the dark. Couldn't find a fucking thing. After 3 nights of searching, they gave up. But meanwhile, the rest of the country just assumed Washington recovered it. Yeah, but the scoreboard showed that Louisiana Tech had the ball on their field, and it still says that now. Why would people assume that? Well, they assume that Washington took the ball and hid it somewhere else on Tech's field. Took it and hid it somewhere way up north, probably. Although, from their perspective, there's no telling. You can do that. Sure, why not? Teams have sometimes done that. It's a known tactic. Why would you hide your ball in somebody else's field if you had the choice? Hey, maybe if you find a real good hiding spot, or maybe you just want to drive your opponents nuts. Remember that all that matters is that you have all the balls on your own field at the end of the game. Until then, you can dump them wherever you think is safe. To Louisiana Tech and everyone else, that seemed like a far more reasonable explanation than 40 people spent 3 nights looking for a glow-in-the-dark football that was hidden by one dude who didn't even know the terrain, and they couldn't find it. And indeed, for the last 63 years, Louisiana Tech has had a ball on their fields. They can't find it, and it drives them fucking crazy. Chuck has wanted to sneak back in and find it, but the area is just so hot with activity these days, he couldn't go anywhere near these hills without drawing suspicion from Tech. But UCLA wants to bring this ball home, so they've struck a deal. You can sort of think of this as an archaeological mission. UCLA called up Louisiana Tech and it was like, hey, we know exactly where it is. If you let Chuck here on your field for a few days to go get it, we'll challenge you to a conventional football game on your home field, old school, 100-yard football, with 100 players in each team. Winner takes the ball. Holy shit, this is what I want to see. Me too, except he can't fucking find it. Well, listen, Chuck, I just got a call up top a few minutes ago. No go on the extension. They want to see you out of here by sundown. I see. I hope you can see it from our position. We've been led on wild goose chases before. A few years ago, Minnesota fed us fake info, and we ended up pulling a third of our team out of Illinois to go look for it. I know, I heard all about that, yeah, but I ain't pulling your chain, Monica. It's right here. It's right around here, and I know it. Well, you know, they hear all this stuff that you're saying about a treasure chest, and it sounds fantastical. It's real. It was real. For the record, I believe you when you say that. I really do. I just think maybe someone else has already come through and found it. No one could have known when to look. No one else could have found it. Hell, I can't even find it. Well, maybe that should tell you something, shouldn't it? Tell us something, shouldn't it? It could have been on another hill, maybe. You said you were dark and it was tired. You said you didn't have your phone on you, you know. There it is, you're almost standing on it. It's right there. And I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but maybe it was on another hill somewhere. And there's lots of terrain in this part of the state that just looks like this. Our field runs through a lot of it. Oh no, I don't take offense. Truth be told, I've been asking that myself for the last few days, and I am sorry, and I sure am sorry if I led you folks astray. I know it's a big thing asking all these players to come out and help me look all week, but it's here. It's right around here, and I'll always believe that. Oh, come on. Fuck. Well, listen, I can vouch for you. My coach is going to be a little upset with this for a while, but maybe in a few years, we can check it out another God hill and see what we, damn it, can find. The chances of that are pretty slim. Yeah, they are. Well, hey, I mean, I understand. Please tell your coach I'm sorry. Think I might keep looking around here until sundown if it's all the same to you. I don't expect you to come with. Sure, I'll leave you to it. Hey, we're gonna be making some corned beef hash for dinner down at camp, to celebrate our new ranking. You're welcome to join when you're done. Might take you up on that, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah. God damn. You all saw that, right? You all saw it? Yeah, I did. It was just as you said. The lid was covered in some leaves, that was all. Seems to me they'll find it eventually. Monica clearly believes him. But then, of course, it's not like they'll need Chuck to help them. They'll get it on their own. Thus, no 101 on 100 game. Thus, yeah. I'm sorry, Jay. I wanted to see as much as you did. Ha. It's a little on the nose though, isn't it? Losing a football right near a place called Lost City. Well, if that's on the nose, so is this. What's that? I've found something. I think I know where the chest comes from. You have a minute? Let me check. Pioneer 10 console. Run upcoming events.exe. Upcoming events calendar. November 8th, 20k20. Happy birthday to Pioneer 9. March 2nd, 2021. 20k21. Happy birthday to Pioneer 10. May 20th, 20k2021. Happy birthday to the Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer. September 3rd, 11/08/083. Passing by Dwarf Star, hip 11/77/95. January 14th, 2091, 65/9. Passing by Red Giant, Aldebaran. Yes, I do. Okay, look at this. Here, I'll just show you. The James boys and the younger brothers. Jesse James. Frank James. Bob Younger. Cole Younger. Lost City, Oklahoma, January 20th. Fate plays strange tricks with mankind. Something more than 30 years ago, Cole Younger and the remainder of the band headed by Jesse James halted at Lost City during a driving blizzard of snow and sleet, just long enough to bury a little more than $63,000, which they had secured in a bank robbery in Texas. The possibility of pursuit and capture suggests that they buried their money at Lost City and returned for it later. They never returned. 25 years later, Cole Younger came out of prison, an old man. He returned to his home in Missouri and lived the rest of his life, dying last fall. But death did not arrive before he found the opportunity of visiting once again the scenes of his earlier adventures, and 4 years ago he came to Lost City. Falling rocks, decayed leaves, rotting trees, and many other changes in the topography of the landscape proved too much for him, however. His quest for the buried money was fruitless. It's possible that it may be hidden through the ages, and the money that was taken out of circulation years ago will remain forever out of circulation. Wow, it's still in great shape. The nanobots must have designated as a structure and maintained it. Of course all this money inside is rotted away. Sorry about your luck, idiot. Oh, come on. That's not nice. Wait, hold on. What do you know about the James Younger gang? Well, I was built by 20th century Americans, so let me see. Apparently, I think he's a Robin Hood with a gun. Oh, that's not right at all. No, it's not. This is going to be a problem for you, Nine. It was for me. It still is for me sometimes. You got a gift for research. Just remember that this is a country that turned Confederate mass murderers into Johnny Appleseed. Whoa, this one's a classic. I love this movie. Y'all gotta see it. You actually watched this movie? Oh, absolutely not. It's just my favorite movie is all.